Hello guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to implement a queue using JavaScript. Program is create a queue data structure. The queue should be a class with methods add and remove. Adding to the queue should store an element until it is removed. So what is queue data structure? Let's imagine and let's simplify the definition of queue. Let's imagine queue is just a, for example, in the real world, a queue is a queue of people lining up in a counter waiting for service. So, for example, for an empty queue, now for an empty queue, the queue works in first in first out mechanism, which is same as the queue in the real world, where the first person when the person standing at the top queue should be served first, because he the first one who line up in the queue, right? So for example, I have an empty queue now. If I wait a minute, there's two operations that two main operations that we should implement in a queue, which is push in the queue and pop out. Push in at the end of the queue and pop out from the other end, right? So for example, my queue is currently empty, so there's nothing to file. We just push one in. We push one, right? We push in this way. We push one first, then we push 2, then we push 7, right? As you can see, the number 1 is the first one that it pushed in the queue, so it should be the first one is removed from the queue. We can push some more. Input 8, 9, for example 9. And now there's a four elements in the queue, and we can only pop 1 from the queue, but we cannot pop 9 from the queue, because it's not how the queue works. Because 1 is the first element that is pushed to the queue. Now we pop it out. 1 is moved from the outside of the queue, right? And we can 2 to the outside, and we can push again 10, for example, right? So that's basically how queue works. That's implemented in JavaScript. In JavaScript, the arrays is a kind of array in array in JavaScript is super powerful. It contains all methods and operations that help you to implement a queue. So your work is not really implement a queue from scratch, but to abstract the queue API into class queue, right? So we write a constructor first. This must be some variable, some property to store the queue itself, elements of the queue. Let's say is data, right? So data is an array, right? So it has a whole bunch of methods, and the two methods we care here is for the add method, add to the queue, push to the queue, is unship method, which means we push the element to the head of the array to decide the array is come here and it goes out here. So to let's say data unship what? Unship value we take on the parameter, right? So to remove the value from there's a method which is pop will take out the last element of the array, the element with the height index. So we return this data pop. That's it. Simple as that. Because JavaScript powerful and do all the heavy stuff for us. So we don't need to implement ourselves, which is amazing. Awesome. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.